right. Yeah, it's like I'm tired of preaching to the choir. You know, they'll have us go to Pride events and have booths there, and I'm like, well, we're not changing minds, man.
Yeah.
We're not, you know, and we want to time to talk to the legislators.
Yeah.
85% support. Why the hell are we out talking? Not that we shouldn't be involved in the community.
If you all want to have a seat.
It's good to meet you, Brad.
Hey, you guys, if you want to come this way, come on over. That's right. We appreciate it. Some like to stand, some like to sit. Yeah, I am too. Doc, nice to see you here, brother. You're the man, brother. You're the man.
Thank you for coming today. Thank you for coming to my practice and coming to meet Curtis. And I'm going to give just a brief introduction and then give him the floor. It's all about him today.
Give me the cement.
Give you the cement, yes. This is Curtis Theophilus Hill. He's from Elkhart, Indiana. Grew up there.
You really said my middle name.
You're in trouble.
It's in the Bible.
He went to high school in Elkhart, graduated from Indiana University, background in marketing, and then graduated from Indiana University Maurer School of Law. He was the AG from 2017 to 2021. He accomplished a lot of things during that time. Brought in through consumer litigation $7.6 million and then $286 million for the state of Indiana. He worked on the worked with the Indiana DEA in 2018, joined with them to work on the highway interdiction program,
Drug
interdiction program, to get hundreds of pounds of illegal drugs off of our streets and away from families and kids. So that was a big accomplishment. But something I'm really excited about is that he spoke up against the mask mandate and said this is unconstitutional. And in fact, the Governor Holcomb at the time said that there were restrictions on religious folks meeting together in a public place, and so he spoke up against that publicly as well. So Curtis is grassroots, personable, gets the job done. I introduce to you Curtis Hill.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. I want to thank Lisa and Perry for inviting me here and all of you folks to come along. Thank you for that great introduction.
You're welcome.
I'm running for governor. You guys all know that. We started this campaign about 3 weeks ago, and it's absolutely fascinating. I don't think that there is anyone in the state of Indiana that does not know that Curtis Hill is running for governor. We had a major splash, and I think that's important because this race had been going on for a while. And you tell me, I don't think anybody has been enthusiastic about this governor's race until about 3 weeks ago. Am I right?
Yeah. Amen. Absolutely.
And there's a reason behind that, because I am a firm believer that Hoosiers are hungry for proven conservative leadership. Leadership that you can track. I don't think you folks are interested in politics as usual or the idea that someone is owed a position or is next in line. I think you want to see that it's earned. How do you best know how someone will perform in an office? By taking a look at how they have performed before. And I can give you some examples. I don't want to come out here and just say, oh, I'm the most this and I'm the most that. I can tell you what we've done. So let's talk about life. I believe in a culture of life. Now, how do you know that? Certainly as Attorney General, I represented the state of Indiana on several cases, some before the Supreme Court, that we won. Well, that's one thing. That's our job. That's the job that you expect me to do. But all of you remember 2,411 aborted babies that were discovered in the state of Illinois a couple of years ago when I was Attorney General. There was no statutory responsibility for the Attorney General of Indiana to get involved in the discovery of babies in Illinois. But I knew that they were discovered at the home of a notorious abortionist who worked in Indiana, whose license I took away. Knowing that, we suspected that those babies belonged in Indiana. We started an investigation and found out it was correct. They had been spirited away 17, 18, 19 years before and stored in a garage in the state of Illinois. I got no phone calls from other elected officials saying, what can we do? Here's what we're going to do. We went out and went to Illinois. We secured those babies. We brought them back home. It took 6 months from the time we started that investigation to the time that we were able to bury them together in a grave and have a service in St. Joe County so that we could provide dignity in death for children who were denied the dignity of life. That's how you determine how someone feels about the culture of life. But I got another topic, liberty, freedom. We are all freedom seekers, freedom lovers here. So when someone says, I believe in liberty, you have to ask yourselves, well, show me. What will you do? Well, what I will do is based on what I have done. And as has been mentioned, when Governor Holcomb executed his emergency orders, 4 months later, he put out a press release where he announced he was going to exercise a mask mandate and charge you as a Class B misdemeanor if you were in violation of that mask mandate. No one else stood up. On that same day, as Attorney General, I issued an advisory opinion declaring that his actions were unconstitutional, that he had no authority to keep you in a mask, and pointed out in that advisory opinion, I pointed out it may even be appropriate to use the mask or even warranted to use the mask, but you have no authority to make citizens mandate to have a mask, and you certainly, the governor certainly have no authority to unilaterally create a misdemeanor offense. And the opinion went on to say, if that's the case, call a special session of the General Assembly, ask them to debate the issue, present the issue as a law, legislate it into effect, so that you, the people, would have an opportunity to hold your elected officials accountable for that action. Because what was being done were efforts to take action and not have accountability. That's not what freedom seekers believe in. Backing the blue. One of the biggest things that we're going to be facing going forward is public safety threats. And what do we feel about our public safety threats in Indiana? Ladies and gentlemen, our police they're shrinking. We have shrinking pools of individuals who even want to be police officers. Why? Because they have not seen an America that supports the police. And it's happening here in Indiana. Our state police pools used to be thousands of people. Now they've shrunk. Here's what happens when you have a shrinking pool of people who want to be police officers. You have departments that will not lower their standards, and so they're not hiring enough police officers, creating a dangerous situation. Or, maybe worse yet, you have departments that are lowering their standards to fill the ranks, and you're getting people who should not be police officers. So we want to support police. We need to support police by making sure that they understand that when we give them a gun and a badge, and we ask them to protect us, sometimes at the risk of their lives, that we will have their back just like they have ours. My expectation of a police officer is the same as yours. Something dangerous is going on. There's a door. You've got to go in. You can't stop. You can't hesitate. And if you have to hesitate as a police officer because you're worried about losing your house or not being protected by your community, that means that you have the possibility of losing your life or some mistake's going to happen. So when mistakes do happen, and they do happen, we need to back the police. Not just paying them more, but we need to back them. I was at an event yesterday, and we had a corrections officer come up and ask a few questions. And he talked about the problem in our prison system. We don't have sufficient numbers of people watching our prisoners. That's a very dangerous situation. You know what's going to happen? Someone's going to be killed. And it reminded me, I have been going into some jails lately. I went to a jail facility in northern Indiana just a few weeks ago. I walked in, there was no one to check me at the security station. No one. I walked right through the metal detector. Metal detector went off. I stood there and waited. Nobody came. So I kept going. Pushed the little button, got the Charlie Brown voice, wah, 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 wah. Told them where I was going. They opened the door. Now, it happened to be good guy Curtis. It could have been a bad guy coming in there. This is the problem. The system is breaking down, it's wearing down, and nobody is recognizing it. So we have to maintain our level of security. And we have to back our police officers. And one other thing I want to talk about is bureaucracy. When I say bureaucracy, most of you think of the federal government.